I am the chosen one.
So I'll be honest, I really don't know how to set up this segment. All I know is that Donald Trump put out a tweet where he quoted someone who likened his presidency and him to the second coming of Christ, literally. And on top of that, Donald Trump gave this really long, unhinged interview, and something from that interview stood out. So let me get to that tweet. He tweeted, "Thank you to Wayne Allen Root for the very nice words." Now, for those of you who don't know, Wayne Allen Root is a Trump sycophant who hosts his own radio show. The quote reads, "President Trump is the greatest president for Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. He is the best president for Israel in the history of the world, and the Jewish people in Israel love him like he's the king of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God. But American Jews don't know or like him. They don't even know what they're doing or saying anymore. It makes no sense, but that's okay. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's good for all Jews, blacks, gays, everyone, and importantly, he's good for everyone in America who wants a job." End quote. Donald Trump then followed up with a wow exclamation and then tagged Newsmax TV, Fox and Friends, and OANN for whatever reason. And of course, he later retweeted out what is presumably the video version of that quote, which I didn't watch because, I have to limit my intake of stupidity to an extent before I end up catching it myself. So obviously, the quote itself is bizarre, it's unhinged, it's anti-Semitic pretty brazenly, and he's saying Jews in Israel love him like he's the second coming of God. Okay, I don't know anybody who would say that I'm like the second coming of Christ. But first of all, if somebody said something like that about me, even if their intentions were pure, they wanted to compliment me, one, I would question their sanity level, and two, I absolutely would not share what they said about me because, talk about filleting yourself. How embarrassing. You retweeted or you quoted someone in a tweet who said that you were like the second coming of Christ. That is some weird shit. This is delusions of grandeur. What are you doing? Donald Trump, obviously, he has a lot of screws loose, but it's like we're watching him deteriorate mentally at such an alarming pace. Now, on top of that, he was talking to the press about his trade war with China. He said something that was a little bit peculiar, to say the least. Take a look.
This isn't my trade war. This is a trade war that should have taken place a long time ago by a lot of other presidents. Over the last 5 or 6 years, China's made $500 billion. $500 billion. Ripped it out of the United States. And not only that, if you take a look, intellectual property theft. Add that to it. And add a lot of other things to it. So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China.
He said this, and he also quoted someone who likened him to the second coming of Christ, or of God. His narcissism is getting progressively worse.
I am the chosen one.
I don't know what to say anymore. To say that he has the intelligence of a toddler would be too kind. I think that's being overly charitable because this individual is he literally delusional? The way he talks is not normal. This is the president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, biggest economy, biggest military. The fact that this guy has his finger on the nuclear button, that's something that we can never take for granted. This is the person who can unilaterally choose to just end the world on a whim if he's in a pissy mood. That should scare all of us. We've just kind of gotten used to the crazy antics of Donald Trump, but never take that for granted. That person is the president who can just launch a nuke at any minute. How fucking bizarre is the time that we are living in? People are going to look back 100 years from now, if the species survives, which it probably won't, and they're going to think, what was wrong with the world? What was wrong with America that they elected that as president. Some weird dude who slathers orange on his face and has a bird's nest on his head. That guy was the president, who's a blubbering buffoon? I mean, I feel so embarrassed. I don't know how anyone can be proud to say that's my president, but boomers love him. Like, there was a tweet underneath Donald Trump's tweet where he quoted the guy who said that he was like the second coming of Christ, and it was just straight up, pure craziness that you'd expect from Donald Trump supporters. These people are sycophants. This is a cult. This isn't like a group of people that you can persuade to wake up. You can't convince them and get them to move to your view, ideologically speaking. These people are too far gone. Trump supporters, most of them are just too far gone, and it's just really sad to think that nothing can penetrate their brains, nothing that you can present them with. No amount of evidence will suffice. They will worship and adore Donald Trump no matter what. And, I laughed at that tweet that was under, Donald Trump's tweet, but at the same time, it's sad. You laugh at it because what else can you do? You laugh to keep from crying, but like, the times that we are living in is absolutely fucking insane. And we just cannot get used to this. This is not normal. This is absolute fucking insanity. We have a president that is a fucking clown.
You could support the Humanist Report at patreon.com/Humanist Report. But trust me, I'd have way more supporters on Patreon if that was my podcast. Sad.